few others. Let's try it again.
Well, quite frankly, it's boring. But
Some original art with me as well.
when you do that, I have to edit all this stuff out.
Tonight's episode, Dark Homecoming.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
I got to figure out a way to keep that applause going so that when my picture comes up like this live, we still have like all this applause. It would give us more of that in-home studio or in-studio, kind of feel to it, like a sitcom or something. Because that's pretty much what this is, except, I mean, we're sitting, but the comedy is, maybe it's just a sit. As you can see, this is Aaron Live. I'm Aaron. This is, Shelley, unfortunately, is a late scratch because of a headache. So it's just me killing time until our special guest, Rini Strychalski. Man, did I say that right? Still good. Strychalski. Ooh, it's tougher than Little Presty. Joins me. And so, we'll do the best we can. But let's see who's here. Past Master Dan looks like he's the first one here, but in fact, I know he wasn't here first. I think it was Maroney or somebody like that was here very first. But you get absolutely nothing for being here first, except my gratitude. So thank you for joining us. Luke Korolowitz. Oh my gosh, the names Korolowitz. Luke Korolowitz. I think that's right. Thanks for being here, Luke. I appreciate it. Hyper Potato is here. He says Rini loves Atari Force. I really don't know, but man, I can hope. You can hope as much as you want, but there'll be no Atari Force on this show. Sorry, that's just the way it rolls. Micro says almost 86K, making the grind to 100. Boy, that's the truth. It really is a grind, but a fun grind. Is there such thing as a fun grind? I'm enjoying myself. So, and I appreciate all you guys backing and supporting the campaign. We'll get to that in a minute, of course. GK1 is here. Dan, oh my gosh, another Italian name. Dan Genovese? Well, thanks, Dan, for joining us. Marcus Kilgore informing me Shane just started a draw stream. Great. Is not Sunday night at 5 o'clock? Is that not my domain? Have I not established that over a year and a half of hard work? Hey, there he is, Maromi. He was the first one in there. So Neon Detective is here. Leg Kick is here because, of course, Leg Kick is almost always here. And he's saying, hey, to Past Master Dan, but not to me. My show, darn it. I think we know the answer to that, Kevin. I don't even think I have to say it out loud. Oh, finally, the best comic creator in CG is coming on. Of course, he is referring to Rini, so let me help him adjust his thinking. Yeah, that's right. Not that we don't have much love for Rini, but we got to put things in their proper order. Let's see. Jerome Georges is here. Hi, Aaron. I haven't heard from you in a while and looking forward to view your topic. Well, thank you, Jerome. I haven't heard from you in a while. So there. Aaron Louvier is here. Louvier. Down goes Solo. Snipe Shane. I won't do it. Down goes Solo. Down goes Solo. That's Howard Cosell. For those of you who are not boxing fans. It's Sundays with the Leprestes, not Sundays with the Mange Davis. That's exactly right. You're going to need to pee on people to mark your territory. Boy, isn't that the truth. It's the Wild West out here, man. Squeaky's here too. Shane's draw streams seem to be more talking than drawing. Yeah, well, this may be more talking than drawing too. So I guess it depends on who you want to listen to. Mighty Joe ditched Shane for me. Thank you so much, Mighty Joe. I appreciate that. Brian Suddenly Old is here. Aaron, hi. Are you enjoying the cool Oregon weekend? You know, I'm not one to complain about heat since we don't get it very much, but it's nice out. It's nice outside, so I'm not going to complain. David Brohawk Williams is here. Here's a big fine comic. Won't you back that campaign up? And he's right. We'll get to that in a minute, of course. Kelly 1481. Hi, just got here. We're Shelley. Shelley is experiencing a bit of a headache, so she is out of commission right now. So I apologize for that. She sends her love, of course. Of course, Geek Avenger is referring to more mayhem at the University of Nebraska football program as their defensive coordinator was fired today. Oh boy, I'm not going to get into that. Christina Lynn is here. Of course, Christina is a freelance editor and proofreader who worked on Wraith of God. So there you go. Aaron, there are kids watching. Adjust that Muppet in a less pornographic position. I think Demonize. I think you need to get your whole head out of the gutter at this point. Stat Zero saying hi to everyone, and I greatly appreciate that, especially when you say hi to me. So one of the things I like to take care of right out of the gate is the public service announcement that I think that is important for all of us to be aware of. Frankenstein says, and it's almost October, like and subscribe to this channel because both functions are completely free and only require you to take your finger and push a button. So I'd appreciate it if you would do that for me. That would be tremendous. These are also fun. Big Raj gives me a Canadian $1.99 super sticker. Thank you, Big Raj. I appreciate it very much and appreciate you joining us. Is the headache from hitting Shelley on top of the head? Well, I haven't hit her on the top of the head for a while, so I'm complete innocent on this one. But I will say this. I'm a little hungry, so let's see what's eaten tonight.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I don't have Shelley here to say bad words to hit the language alert. So, okay. You know, I like pastries, I like baked goods, who doesn't, right? But trying to find them in a store in a small package, so it's not like this huge container of stuff that you'll be eating, like 10 times as many calories as you really want to deal with. But I did find this. Killer brownies, right? I've already had a couple, but they're small. They're so delicious. So anything that's like, chocolatey and chewy goodness, I'm going to indulge in. So here we go. The Killer brownies, what I've got on the menu. I did get gummy bears for Shelley, but what are you going to do? Save them for next time, I guess. They won't make it till next time. I say it's really bad form to eat on camera. I make a living out of it. I don't really make a living out of it, but I do it a lot. Let's see. Paul says, at Christina Lynn, told Aaron already, but might as well let you know too. Wraith of God is the best book to come out of CG so far. It's one of my favorite indies of all time. Thank you, Paul. I was on Kyle Curtis and Matt's show yesterday. What's it called? It's not the Comic Experience, but they do like a review channel, and I guested on their show yesterday, and we actually did a little bit of a deep dive into some of the script choices and the that I made, why I did what I did in certain instances in the book. So if you have some questions and that you'd like to get a little bit more behind the scenes of the writing aspect of Wraith of God graphic novel, then you should check out their channel and check out that particular episode, which was just yesterday. All right, I'm going to down this really quick. Well, I'm going to shove it all in my mouth at once. Is basically what I'm telling you, but that doesn't mean it's going to go down quick. Okay. Stippling, these are all incredible questions that I had to change my last minute programming here because I thought Shelley was coming on and found out late that she wasn't. So I'm playing by the seat of my pants right now. So we shall see what exactly happens. Fritzy Schnitzel says, Aaron, what are your favorite comics? My favorite comics are old comics, anything pre-1980. I don't read new comics. I've read, what have I read? I read Mike Barron's Thin Blue Line, which I thought was a really good read. I've read Graham Nolan's Chenu and then his Alien Alamo, which are both fun books. Yeah, what have I read recently? I haven't. Yeah, I got nothing. My favorite comics are ones I collect. I collect old comic books now. That's kind of my thing. And then I do buy books, back campaigns and stuff, and then the books stack up back there, and they keep saying, well, I'm going to read this tonight, and then I don't. So I've got a stack going of books I need to read, that's for sure. But even as a kid, superheroes weren't my favorite genre. I did read them, of course, Spider-Man, Captain America, Avengers, but I liked monster books. I like fantasy books. And which is, Rini, when she comes on, we'll be talking about her book, which is a fantasy book. So it's the kind of stuff that I dig, man. So yeah, Aaron's favorite comic is Fiendish. It's my second favorite comic right after Wraith of God, but that's close. Aaron, smacking on chocolate. This is doo-doo, baby. I don't even know what that means. David speaks in a different language than I do. No, it wasn't a Hostess product, but okay. Full disclosure. When I go grocery shopping, I do occasionally see those chocolate Hostess cupcakes, and they're always in a 2-pack, right? And if they happen to be on sale, I might reach over and grab a 2-pack. Now, generally what happens is I do only do that when my daughter's around because I'll eat one and give her the other. Well, I did it the other day grocery shopping, and I picked it up, and I ate both of them. And I was sick after I ate both of them. But I'll tell you this, they were good going down. Ugh. Look at that. Eric the Guapo says, David, looking forward to that Bass Reeves hardcover. I think we're all looking forward to that. I didn't put a link to it in the description of this, but you guys check out, the signups are still going on that Bass Reeves collection. It's Bass Reeves something. David, fill us in. You're in the chat. And you want to go check that out and sign up for that. Yes, Samantha is at school, and we don't hear much from her when she's at school, so that means everything must be going well. But thank you for asking. There's Paul. He's agreeing with me. Besides indies, I read mostly old stuff too. Speaking of old stuff, let's take a quick look at our Wrightson image of the day, which of course to me, Wrightson is the vintage Wrightson, 1972 through 1980. So that's what I focus on. So let's take a look at, oh, excuse me. Pardon me. I'm sorry about that. But let's take a look at his, this is print number 10 out of the horror and fantasy series that he did for Christopher Zavisa Enterprises back in 1976. So here we go. That's an interesting piece. It's by far not my favorite Wrightson piece. There's good and bad with it. I believe, the best I can tell, that looks like an oil painting to me. And it appears to be a guy, you know, praying or, you know, maybe just mourning on top of a gravestone. So this image of this woman is that, I don't know, maybe his dead wife. It's an angelic being. There appears to be some wings there coming off of her. So it's an interesting piece, I guess, but not one of my favorite ones, because I like a little more monstrous things coming from Wrightson. But again, I said I would show you all of the prints from that series, and that's number 10. There's one more to go, and then we'll move off that and on to something else. But it'll always be Wrightson because, well, you can't have a Wrightson image of the day if it's not Wrightson, right? So anyway, let's this. Demon Eye says, I remember when Dark Horse had books coming out by Mike Mignola, Kelly Jones, Eric Powell, Matt Wagner, Kyle Holtz, Guy Davis, Van Derton, all in the same month. We need more horror books in CG. There's a lot of horror books in CG, and I guess maybe we call CG adjacent. I don't even know what that means, but in the independent market, it seems like that's the favorite genre. So it just depends on if you're looking in all the right places, I guess. Jeff Potts is enraged. Where is Shelley? Shelley's down with a headache, so she can't join us tonight. And so she sends her regards. And I do apologize for the entertainment level dropping in half without Shelley. So, and it wasn't very high to begin with. So I understand that there's, you know, maybe some bitter feelings in the chat here. Yeah, let's see here. If Shelley isn't going to be here, then at least, in the very least, let the puppet speak. He's got nothing. Okay, so one of the things that, you know, I don't like to do it too much, but gosh darn it, I'm in the middle of a campaign, so I've got to push it, right? I got to push it. So I will say this as humbly as I can, that Wraith of God, the graphic novel, was perhaps one of the best reviewed books of this past year. So if you haven't got it, get it. You can get it on my campaign that's open right now for the follow-up, Wraith of God Blood Hunters. You can contact me directly and get one while they last. But you should be backing this next campaign because it's full of excitement. And one thing you can count on from me and my label, Empire Comics, is we actually do publish books and we deliver them. So you can count on that. You're not tossing your money away when you back an Empire Comics and Aaron Lopresti project, because I will get you that book and it will be top notch. So let's take a quick look at this super expensive trailer that I paid big money for. God, if I can even find it. I can't even find it. See, this is what happens when, oh, there it is. That is one heck of a great trailer and graphic novel.
A what?
It's a graphic novel.
A what?
It's a comic book with a lot of pages in it.
A what?
Anyway, let's take a quick gander, if I might, at the campaign page. Okay, so right now we're at $85,647, which is fantastic, but I like to look at this number over here, which we call the backers number, because the more people reading the book, the more excited I am. So we have over 1,000 backers. Things are rocking and rolling. We have 20 days left, plenty of time to make something happen. I do want to point out to you guys that you have 3 cover options here. The wraparound cover, which is right there. We have the Tales of Suspense throwback cover, 1965-ish version right there. The reason Garbage Man and Nightclub are on the cover is because they're backup stories. So you're getting a full-blown Wraith of God story, and you're getting complete Garbage Man and Nightclub backup stories. We're still in trying to find out if I'll have to change the nightclub's name or not, but we'll deal with that when we have to. Then there's the third cover option, which is the tribute to Tomb of Dracula #1, which a lot of people seem to like this cover as well, so that's kind of cool. Here's some pages. Gabe LTA, of course, did the wonderful colors on this. And we got a lot of coffin action. And then, of course, we have a little Nosferatu action. This looks like it's going to be a pretty good book. There's a couple pages from the backup story, which is Garbage Man, by me and colored by our own Dan Lawless. There's a zombie saying "ack." You can't get that anyplace but right here. The Garbage Man limited edition print is also available. And Wraith of God Roughs, Volume 2. This shows the layouts and all the work behind the scenes that went into making the book. So, you know, if you're a guy that likes to see the artistic process, this might be the thing for you. There's Merv the Astro Chimp trading card. You get that if you were early sign up and then order. You'll get one of these for free. Here's something I want to kind of point out. We've hit all these stretch goals, or quite a few of them, but if we get to this 100,000 right here, that's 15 pages of Kit Carter that gets added to this book, which is already like 80 some pages, right? So we're pushing a 100-page book here. And then of course we get to 120, and then everybody gets for free a Queen of Hearts Esther's playing card, which is basically it's a companion piece to the Wraith of God Ace of Spades card, which we all got in the first campaign. We have these incredible Dale Keown Bloody Werewolf t-shirt, the Garbage Man t-shirt coming in 2 colors, and the now classic Wraith of God t-shirt. And these have all been put together as add-ons to the shirt perk. So you can get multiple shirts with minimal shipping. Excuse me. So it took me a while to figure all that stuff out, but I did, and it's there. Empire Comics hat seems to be something that you should all want to wear. I know I do. Here's some of the add-ons you can order on. You can get, well, the Dale Keown cover is now sold out, sorry, but you can still get the other 3 covers from the first graphic novel added onto your order if you'd like to do that. Garbage Man trade paperback is still available. Power Cube is not. I'm trying to get more. I'll let you know. Now here's something. We have the Wraith of God shot glass along with the Garbage Man shot glass. Now we have, and this is the unfortunate thing, Shelley was going to demonstrate how to properly use the Garbage Man shot glass because it is different, the technique. And so we'll have to wait till next week probably to get a shot of that. But, pardon the pun, shot of that. Here it is. There's the Garbage Man shot glass. These are like one of the little doodads you can add on as an order. And we also have the Wraith of God shot glass. So start your shot glass collection. We're going to do with these every campaign. There's going to be a new one. So you'll get the whole Loprestiverse shot glass collection. So those are also available. So lots of good stuff there. So check out that campaign. You'll find the link right in the description of this video, along with Rini's link to her campaign, which called Fiendish 2 Electric Boogaloo. That is also in the link to this in this video. So I encourage you all to check out both those campaigns, and we do appreciate your phenomenal support of these projects. Okay, let's see what's happening here. There you go. What's with this bite radius crap? Stick your head in there and tell me if it's a man-eater. Yeah. What? I always thought that was funny. All the covers look great. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. Get up there. Nightclub or Panic at the Disco. I might change it to Panic at the Disco. But I'd have to write a disco into the story, and it's not really currently there. I'm waiting for my backing credit card to be delivered. I see. Excellent. That's important. Space beer also is important. Have any of your peers in the industry given you their opinion, feedback regarding Wraith of God? Let me think. No. A couple, or just congratulated me on the, success of it. But guys that I know that have a copy, and it's very possible they just haven't read it yet. Or maybe they didn't like it and they didn't want to tell me. But it's more likely they didn't read it or haven't read it yet, because that's what happens. We buy these things. We're like, yeah, I'm going to sit down and read this. And then we're so busy working on projects, and, we don't read this stuff as regularly as we used to. So IG Garbage Man could be a card with T card. Would he be? That seems like Pig Latin to me. I'm not quite sure what's being said here. I guess Garbage Man could be a card. But which card, T card, would he be? I'm really going to have to think about that, Kevin, and get back to you. There you go. Dunn went ahead and he sprung for the big box with a Merv card, early sign-up bonus. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. 100 pages? That's going to bend my bookshelf. Indeed, it shall. If you have a bookshelf just full of my books, they're going to bend your bookshelf by the time we're done. I give you thick books. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, you won't demonstrate it, Aaron? Yeah, not really. No, I won't. That you don't want to see that. It could get ugly quick. Yeah, everybody's like, where's Rini? Where's Rini? She'll be here very, very shortly, actually, I think. What does he say here? Dale should start doing passed out variants featuring whatever CG character passed out. Now look at this. Christina Lynn, she likes the Tales of Suspense cover, which dates back to 1965. And we know Christina's not that old. But she does appreciate the vintage anyway. So thank you, Christine. Appreciate that. Okay, so I do have a few things to do that I had planned, and we'll do them before Rini gets here. We do them after Rini gets here. We'll see what happens. But we do have this. What is in my flat files? That's an excellent question. And let's find out, because we were talking a little bit about Kit Carter, and I thought it might be appropriate to take a look at some Kit Carter stuff, because you may be saying, some of you saying, well, I don't get it. What's Kit Carter? What's the deal? Well, Kit Carter is that space babe right there behind me. And I had a hard time figuring out exactly how to use the character. And what I decided to end up doing was do like one-page daily strips, or pardon me, like Sunday strips, like old newspaper comics used to be, right? You'd get the color comics in the Sunday paper. And so I wanted to do like a continuing adventure, but I wanted to treat them as single episodes, if you will. So you'd have a gag at the end, and then it would go on to the next. So what I'm going to include in this when we hit to 100K is 15 full-page strips of Kit Carter. And I'm going to show you what some of those look like, because I have some sitting right here. I pulled them right out of my flat file. I know it seems remarkable, but it is true. So as we ship over to the wonderful high-resolution Razer Kaio camera, let's take a look here. See what we've got. Now let's cover up this for right now. Yeah. Oh, for crying out loud. Let's just get rid of this. It's distracting me. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Hand it to the puppet. Of course, he's asleep, so he can't hold it for me. Oh, the whole thing's a joke. All right, here we go. So this was actually the very first Kit Carter strip right here. In fact, I happen to have one sitting over here in color. So this was a, this is what I called a story print. Okay, and this is how it'll appear in the book. So you see up here, it says right there, episode 1 up in the right-hand corner. So it's Kit Carter, Galactic Ranger, episode 1. All right. So here's the format, basically. So he says, let's see here, what does he say? I got to get rid of this. I've got a double image on my screen and it's freaking me out. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, we got the Molten Menace saying their fleshy intruders come out. Fleshy intruders come out and face my wrath. That's terrible. Ideas, Merv? Let's break for lunch. What? If we don't stop Schmegma, now he'll destroy the entire planet. Millions could die. We're talking 30 minutes. Kit, I have leftover pizza. Galactic Luigi's? Yep. So good. Excuse me, we're going to break for lunch. Back in 30 minutes. 45 travel time. 45 tops. What? Wait, what? You can't just... And he's like, sigh, 1001, 1002. So he starts counting for them to return. And thus, that's the shtick. And there's your first episode right there. So that would be like the strip that would appear in a Sunday paper. Right? So there's 15 of these, 8 of which are done. Let's just take a quick look through these. Here's the second episode where Kit is talking to her boss. He's smoking inside his helmet, which, of course, doesn't end well for him. Then we have, of course, in episode 3, this is not to be confused with Ming the Merciless. This is Zing the Zealous. And he's looking at a holographic image of Kit and perhaps daydreaming about what it might be like to add her to his harem. So there you have it. Episode 4, they're in pursuit of Zing the Zealous. You know, you get a few jokes in here, ha ha ha. But here's the art. They land on the planet. Kit and Merv discuss their plan. Episode 6, Merv is safely in the ship while Kit is out on the planet. She comes across these mutant creatures that she gets outnumbered pretty quickly there. Looks like she's in trouble. And then we cut to the next episode and looks like Kit is in trouble as she's being carried off by the mutants. Then we see Zing in his silver spoon bathtub getting cleaned up for his meeting with the now captured Kit Carter. He wants to look his best, of course. And then, of course, we go to this, which is episode 8, which is Kit and Zing the Zealous have a little bit of a conversation here. It looks like Kit's maybe a bit disgusted by whatever Zing is offering her. So anyway, that's kind of what they look like. So they're all like these little individual episodes. And we'll have 15 of these. You just saw the first 8. We'll have 15 of these added to the book. So that's incentive enough right there, I think, to get this to 100K. So tell your friends, tell your enemies to back Wraith of God Blood Hunters. This I'll just show again. David Williams and I worked on this together. He did the Batman, I did the Clayface, and I finished this up earlier in the week we had a draw stream. We went about 3 hours. I want to say it was Thursday night. And originally we had done this a couple months ago, and I spilled water on my clay face. I'm kind of ashamed to admit that. So I had to redraw it. But in the meantime, David actually sent me his Batman piece, right, that he did. So I was able to really make the connection here much better than when we were both drawing these separately, you know, via live stream. And then hoping they fit together. I was actually, since I got the one from him, I was actually able to make it fit together perfectly. And this is going to go up for auction at some point. And we've talked about doing some other ones too. So that may be like a live stream regular thing that we do is me and David Williams doing combo pieces. So anyway, that, guys and gals, is what is in my flat file. Okay, so now Irene's late. So what the heck? Let's see here. Fox says, I know several people have already made the suggestion, but it just seems right that Kid Carter should be a known pop culture character in the world of Garbage Man and Nightclub. Yeah, well, it's possible. Anything is possible, Fox. And I always take everything under advisement. Let me switch cameras here because my table looks, I think I look boring, but my table is even more boring than I am. At least I can do expressions and impressions, but I won't do any right now to bore you. You know what? It looks like we have a guest here in the green room. Let me get through these. Rini, I'll bring you on just a second. Let me get through the rest of these chats. Let's see here. Unlike AOC, Kid Carter is actually handcuffed on that one panel. That's pretty good. Killer Queen, Dynamite with a laser beam. Indeed. Let's see here. Evil One says, I'll make sure I tell my enemies because my friends already know. Will Kid Carter include a Bill Shatner cameo? Well, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Let's see. Irene is chilling in the chat. Well, she's now chilling in the green room. There's no food in the green room, though. That's the green room kind of sucks, right? There's nothing really there unless you bring your own. All of this awesome artwork is going to make me burn my food tonight because I can't keep my eyes off the art. It's a beautiful thing, Evil One. I appreciate that. But don't burn your dinner. All right, everybody, put your hands together for the gal that is bringing us Fiendish 2, Electric Boogaloo. It's Irene Strychalski. I don't even know if I got even close to pronouncing that right. So everybody put your hands together for her and welcome at Rini Draws. There she is. Hey, Rini.
Hello!
Why? No, wait a minute. Why are you hiding behind a little icon image, a little avatar?
My camera's being weird.
Oh,
That's why I was late. I'm trying to get it to work, but I'm unplugging and replugging USBs as we speak, so I'll figure it out soon.
People want to see your face. That's what they're here for.
I'll get it working. I might switch to another camera. So
okay. Well, see, the fact that you have more than one camera shows that you're not a boomer and that you're a young lady with your full life ahead of you. So good for you.
I have options.
Yeah, that's right. Jay Dredd says, the queen of CG. He is referring to you, my dear. So.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
Now, wait a minute. Paul says, echo Irene. I'm not hearing an echo. Echo's gone. See, look at these people are making stuff up. They're just trying to cause controversy where they're non-existent.
It might have just been at the beginning when I was really loud.
Okay. Well.
That tends to happen.
All right. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take a look at your campaign real quick here. And if I can find the, oh, there it is. And let you talk just a little bit about this. And then we're going to delve deep into the past of Rini and find out what you're all about. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, no. All my deep, dark secrets are coming out.
That's right. You know, when Dale first came on my show months ago, he was like, wow, this is your life. Because I kept bringing up stuff to ask him questions about. So be prepared.
Is Shelley here?
Shelley has a headache, so she couldn't join us. I'm so disappointed. But I know, but we'll get her back on here eventually. But yeah, it's kind of she gets migraines sometimes, and so she was had a bad one today, so she couldn't come on, even though I tried to drag her on. But
well, that sucks. I hope she feels better soon.
Well, thank you. I will pass on your well wishes.
I
All
like
right.
hanging with Shelley. She's fun on Twitter.
She is. Okay, so you just blew up. You're at $104,280, 1,175 backers. You have 22 days left in your first 30. You've got to be
Yeah.
pretty excited.
I am. It's just starting to settle in that these numbers are real, and I am excited and also mildly terrified. But more than anything, I am grateful, and I'm feeling the pressure because I got to deliver. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident I can.
Well, you've done it once or twice, or you've been doing the indie thing for a while, right? So this isn't necessarily
Yeah.
numbers might be new to you, but the process certainly isn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've actually been doing indie comics since college. It's just just really small scale self published stuff, and all people know me for is obviously the Marvel work. But I have been printing my own comics for a very long time.
Yeah, I was when I was I don't know 18 or 19. I'm sure you probably weren't even considering being born yet at that point. I was, that was one of the first things I wanted to do. I had my own characters and everything, and I was calling printers and trying to find out how much it would cost to do this, and trying to figure, calling Diamond, annoying them with stupid questions that a 19-year-old. And
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do this too, but you just that's how you started. How old were you when you published your first indie comic?
Let's see. I think it was towards the tail end of college. So actually I published my first art book in high school, so I was around
Okay,
17. And
look
that
at
was the
you.
first time I started doing conventions as well. But I wasn't really doing comics at that point. I would do comic strips. Oh, you know what? No, technically, yeah, I was 18 because I did a comic strip. Like I started drawing this little comic strip of my life during college when I first moved to Savannah, and I
Hmm.
printed that. So I was 18.
Well, so let's take a look at this campaign real quick, and then we'll get back to you personally. But so it looks like you've got a nudie variant here. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah. Even though nothing is really showing, it's like tactfully covered, but
Oh, I see.
Indiegogo's sensitive, so yeah, it's not. It's really not as rated R as the bars make it seem.
So more PG-13 is what you're saying?
Totally PG-13. No, it's not. Yeah, I was kind of thinking, well, is this a little much? But then again, my book is not exactly. It's definitely above 16 anyways, so I think it fits the franchise.
So this is a fantasy. Um, would you it wouldn't say sword and sorcery. You'd say fantasy, like elf type. How would you describe it? Instead of letting me
I
do it, why don't you do it?
Sure. I wouldn't call it sword and sorcery. It is high fantasy, but it's not quite sort of like the Conan like a giant guy with a sword killing monsters, and I love that kind of stuff, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I set out to do. I am actually a really big horror and mystery fan, so what I did was I wanted to combine fantasy with horror and mystery. So it's essentially a mystery story that's set in a fantasy world. And just because it's a fantasy world, magic and monsters come into play, but it really is a mystery at heart.
It's kind of funny. You look at a lot of CG creators, and a lot of them have these sort of multi-genre books. Because we're fans of stuff that we didn't necessarily get to work on in the mainstream, and so we have an opportunity to put it into a book, and it ends up being, well, it's not just a horror book; it's kind of a fantasy book, and it's kind of a mystery book, and it's I got multiple genres in Wraith of God as well, because it you kind of want to how should we say, scratch that itch altogether, and rather than having to do like separate projects to you just combine those elements and give us something more unique, which I think is what you're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously, because this is the project that I have full control over, I dictate how it goes, so I can kind of do whatever I want, which is great. So I was, instead of, obviously I did think about, well, what would be appealing to people, but at the end of the day my decisions are based on what do I want to draw, because this is also a long project. It is a long story that's about, like, 18 to 20 chapters at this point. So I want to make sure I'm willing to work on this for 10 years. So this is everything that I love, all the genres that and the types of storytelling that I've been wanting to do all my life since I was about 14, mashed into one. And I have a lot of respect for the American comic industry, even though I didn't grow up here. But one issue I noticed when I first moved here was always that there wasn't a lot of diversity of genre.
Hmm.
In like the indies, especially when I first moved here, it was like 2007, 2008. Um, and even now, what's dominant are superhero comics.
Right.
And I always wish that there was more types of comics because I think the audience is there, and especially coming from Asia, coming from manga, where even though stuff like shonen does sell the most, you have because of demographic issues, there is horror, there is seinen, which is comics aimed at adult men, and there's josei and shoujo, which is comics aimed at women. So it seems strange that there wasn't more diversity of genre. I don't, I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. I don't see it, so I'm not gonna complain. I'm just gonna make it.
Well, it is funny that in mainstream comics for so long, and I guess it's probably corporate America, not just comics, but they see something that works, and then if they try to they do something different. It doesn't necessarily catch on real quick, but they don't have the patience to grow the audience, right? They just cut it and go back to what works. And so I think that's why we've seen, just so much superhero material the past, well, really, 50 years in comics has been pretty much all, with the exception of some indie books here and there. I mean, Marvel and DC have tried to do fantasy books at different times, but they haven't really stuck it out very long. And I think that's because they don't have the patience to let the audience grow. It's always about the bottom line, where we're operating in a system that doesn't require as much readership. So we can do this kind of stuff and actually be successful at it without the numbers that Marvel and DC have to, and certainly without the corporate pressure. So that I think we are filling a void right now with this type of material that, because these are the kind of, before there were superhero movies, right? And it wasn't that long ago before that wasn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy movies, sci-fi movies, that was the stuff that captured people's imaginations. And we just never really saw it translated regularly into comics. And now we're seeing it through our independent movement. We're starting to see some of that stuff, and we're seeing that there is an audience for it.
Yeah, there is an audience for fantasy. I mean, why would anyone think that stuff like Lord of the Rings and Song of Ice and Fire are so popular, but if it's just translated into comics form, that people wouldn't touch it?
Right.
I noticed this kind of strange thing about the American market where comics are kind of viewed as it's only superheroes and it's for comics people. Well, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a slow change, and it's a bit of an uphill battle, but people are the same everywhere. And look at Europe, look at Asia. It's not, comics there aren't viewed as, well, it's a niche market only for people who like comics. It's just literature. It's just another medium. So I want to push American comics to be the same way.
Cool. All right. So on this campaign, you have 3 cover options at this point? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah. There are 3 cover options. One of them is the nudie cover. That's for Red Valkyrie. I had a little collaboration with them, so they did a cosplay for my campaign, and it's part of the secret perk. So I did a cover that I only make available for their streams. And I also had a 4th cover that was a 24-hour cover that is no longer available. So yeah, that's why.
Now, so you're just dropping it? You just dropped it as a 24-hour cover. Are you going to bring it back randomly at some point and to drop it for another 24 hours?
I might at the closing, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay. All right. Because I'm sure there's people that maybe weren't paying attention and missed it. So
yeah, I might bring it like last 24 because that would still be 24, right? Because I also have to honor the people who backed it early. So if I say it's 24, it should be 24 hours in some way.
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna argue with your logic there. It seems to make sense to me. All right. So everybody, the link for this campaign is in the description of this video. So I would encourage you guys to. It's definitely the hottest book out there right now. Unfortunately, mine's the second hottest book behind this one, but it is the hottest book.
You're catching up.
You want to check it out and back this. Okay, so let's get into, we'll check this. We're at 104,280 right now. And, 104,377. See, I have
Whoa.
influence, Rini. I have influence. So
You're helping. Oh, thank you. It's all
I'm
because of you.
here to help. I'm a
Oh,
helper,
you
guy.
did.
Okay, so we'll check that in a little bit. But first, or I guess second now, let's take a step back in time, shall we? Oh,
Oh,
there
there
she
we.
is.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
There
I
she
had to
is.
switch cameras. Here we go. Why am I so blown out? All right. I got my Fiendish shirt on and everything. See?
Look at that. Now wait a minute. Do you have Fiendish shirts available through the campaign?
Not through the campaign. I have a Redbubble store.
All right, explain to me and everybody else what a Redbubble store is, will you?
A Redbubble store is, and there are a few stores like this. I read Redbubble. I think is T Public one of them, and Society 6. You upload your designs, and the storefront, they're essentially this marketplace. They print on demand for you, so they
Okay.
take a larger cut than, say, if you just went to a factory and you did all the inventory. But so I kind of just upload my designs, I customize them, make sure it's placed correctly, and they do everything else. They just pay me every time there's a sale. So I
Oh,
have a store like that, but I do want to sort of move to a more independent platform where I have more control and I'm not giving them like 60% of everything.
right. Well, yeah, I had the Zazzles like that. I had a page on the Zazzle store where it was like print to order type stuff, and but I haven't really ever used it. I don't think I made any money on it, but I was doing it like way before. I kind of put the horse or the carriage in front of the horse on that one. I was putting stuff out there without really anything to back it up. So, um, all right, I'm going to show you a picture. And I want you to tell me what you can about this. Now, who the heck is this?
That's my secret younger sister who
Mm-hmm,
looks
mm-hmm.
exactly like me for some reason.
When was this?
I think this was 2018.
Okay, so about 4
And
years.
this I actually distinctly remember this was the last day in New York Comic Con, and I was really tired, which is why I was wearing glasses.
Now, how long did it take you to grow from this to grow your hair out to the length it is right now?
Oh, this is about 3 years.
Yeah, so from this point on, you just let it start growing, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
Now, you said this is
Yeah.
in New York,
I'm
so
pretty sure. Yeah, this is New York. Oh, this is so long ago.
how did you do it at the con? Because it's an expensive show to go to, right? So break even is difficult. Do you remember how you did? I mean, without giving specific numbers, but did you feel like you did pretty well, or was it a struggle, or?
I think minus like, did I break even? I think I went to New York like a couple of times. I did actually like 3 or 4 times. No, actually, but twice I was sharing a hotel room with like 5 people, and other time, and I was sharing a table with other people as well. So those were I broke even barely those times, and then I think I went a couple times on my own, and I broke even on like the table and a hotel, but not the flight. So I was like, well, I'm going to promote myself. I'm basically spending
Right.
my money just to get my name out there. It didn't really work. I don't think going to cons is the avenue for getting your name out there anymore.
I
That's
agree.
what they tell you though, because when I was in school, I studied comics. They're like, well, you go to conventions and then you go up to editors and you show your work and you table at conventions. That's how you get famous. And that's totally not how it works anymore.
No, and we reach a bigger audience just by live streaming than we could ever do setting up at a con, and then we don't have to spend the several $1,000s for airfare and hotel and food. And I mean, I can't figure out a reason why I would go back to New York. Last time I was there, I just remember if you had to use the restroom, like there was a line a mile long. You're like, are you kidding me? It was
Oh
just,
gosh. I think last time I was in New York, they had restrooms just for artist alley people, so that was nice.
oh, did they? Well, they didn't
Yeah.
tell me.
So that I think they got too many complaints with like art. Like it's like you can't be away from your table for that long. Like
Right.
we need it's you have to get someone to help. Or I don't think New York has this. I'm not sure, but some conventions have. You can like have an app, or you can call someone to sit at your table. It's like an employee for the convention. So that's nice. All conventions should do that.
I would think so, but it usually doesn't play out that way. I'm lucky if someone comes by and gives me a bottle of water half the time. So
Oh yeah, yeah. It's hard work. It's
it
it's
is.
yeah, it's tons of people, and you're usually drawing the whole time, and when you're not drawing, you're talking to people, and it's a lot to manage, especially on your own. I would never do a convention on my own. I don't think. It's like you need someone there to help you.
It is a pain in the butt. And my wife used to go with me. Shelley used to go all the time, and then she kind of experienced con burnout, and then she would just stay in the hotel and meet me for dinner.
Oh,
And then
oh,
she just quit going altogether.
oh. Well, it is
Poor
exhausting.
Irene. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to find out a little bit about sort of your background, and now this is you, right? You have your own IMDb page there.
Oh, look at that! I
There
do.
can't be any more Irene Strychalskis, right? That's too unique a name. That has to be you. So you were working in animation, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, was that before comics, or did you do comics, get into animation, come back to comics? How did that work?
It was kind of a back and forth thing. So I majored in sequential art but minored in animation. I actually switched my majors because at first I couldn't quite make up my mind because I knew there was more money in animation, but what I really wanted to do was comics. So it was like this inward battle of, well, I want to make money, but I really want to make comics too. And
Mhm.
who would have thought there actually is a way to do that? And that's why we're here. Comics
That took us
makes
long enough
dreams
to
come
figure it
true.
out, though, didn't it?
It did. It only took me like 10 years. Um, but when I was going to college, it was like, well, you want to make money, do gaming or animation. So right out of college, I actually worked in animation for years. I jumped between doing mobile games, animation, casino games, and all kinds of stuff in animation. I did character design, background art, uh, storyboards, and I was basically on every team for
Were
several shows.
were you were you working at home, or did you have like a studio setting that you were going to when you were doing working in animation?
Oh no, I was going to the studio. So Atlanta has actually has a couple of studios, and the movie business has been growing for the past 10 years or so. So it was actually very fortunate that I ended up transferring to the SCAD Atlanta campus, and then Hollywood production started coming to Atlanta, and that came along with a few animation studios. So the Archer Studio, Floyd County Productions, is in Atlanta, and I was hired there as a background artist on like season 3 way back when. So they're one of the studios I worked on for most of my animation jobs.
Was this was it seasonal, or were you employed per, like, just for whatever season of Archer, and then when that season was up, it was like you're on your own until the next season, or how did that work?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was so it's stable in the sense as it's better than freelance because you have a job for like like a whole year. So
Hmm.
every season is a year. So they employ you for a year, and usually there's a gap of you don't know how long. For Archer, it was at least like 2 to 3 months. For other shows, like I also worked on Hit Monkey, which was a Marvel show that they contracted out to Flood County. It's been like a year since Hit Monkey came out, and then they finally got approved for a second season now, apparently. So it's really unstable, and then on some shows you just don't get another season, and so you're kind of just out of work and waiting for the studio to call you for those months. But I don't know. I think it's kind of sad that like the animation industry really doesn't treat its employees very well, especially because there's a bit of an oversaturation. A lot of young people that are straight out of college that are willing to work for low pay and barely any benefits and be basically treated like crap. So I have a lot of
Oh,
thoughts about these things.
sounds like comics.
Yeah.
So did do you still get calls from the animation studios, or is that something you've put behind you and you're just totally 100% focused on comics at this point?
Oh, I'm totally focused on comics. I wouldn't mind working in animation again, but I don't think I will because I'm focused on transitioning to doing comics full time. Like I still do have a job, which I don't like to say what it is because crazy people on Twitter. But Like my goal is comics all the time, and I might like I do have a thought to maybe go back to animation if I want to animate Fiendish, and I would want to be
Right,
in charge of that because I did work in industry, I know how it works, but like
right,
not right now.
right. Well, so did you get to a point where you were just uh, sick of working in animation? You said, okay, now's the time to go into comics, or did work run out and you said, okay, now's the time to go into comics? How did you? Because I know if you've got, I remember Mike Plug told me one time that when he was working in, and William Stout, illustrator William Stout, said the same thing to me. Is that once you get in, like storyboarding or something like that in Hollywood, or this wasn't Hollywood, this is gaming or animation in Atlanta, but still the same type of thing. It's like once you get in and they know they can count on you, it's like almost impossible to get out because they're always calling you and wanting you to do more work. So did you have work dry up and you said, okay, now's my opportunity to jump, or did you just say, I can't take this anymore, I want to do comics?
Um, let's see. Well, when I stopped doing animation and went to Marvel, I kind of jumped back and forth for a bit.
Mhm.
So the process was my first Marvel job was when I was actually still in school. I was a senior, and that's when I got hired for Deadpool Family, which was it was just like an 11-page short. It was like a little tiny thing. Everyone else who got hired were new artists straight out of art school. And then I didn't get any more work from Marvel. So I was like, and I immediately got an offer from Floyd County after that. So I was like, money. So I went to Floyd County and I was, working, jumping between. And then after Floyd County, let's see, I did 2 seasons of Archer, I think. And then during the break in between seasons, I got offered another job with gaming. So I was kind of just following whatever paid my rent.
Right.
But around like 2016, I was actually working in gaming, and I I had a quarter life crisis of sorts, I guess. I don't know what else to call it
A
because
quarter life crisis.
I,
That's
I
like
know
when you
it
have up, you're
sounds
like at 23 or something.
yeah, I know it sounds really stupid, but like I don't know how else to describe it because I was just suddenly like I'm so depressed. I'm just work. I mean, I was making great money, but I was like what am I doing with my life? I'm just going to the office and trying whatever they tell me every day, and all
I
just
didn't
the
even have a
money is
job
to
when I
make
was
me
23.
fulfilled, right?
Oh,
So I
that's
was like,
funny.
oh my god, I have to do comics because I couldn't think of anything else, and so that's when I sort of reached out to some people I knew at Marvel. Was like, I put together some pages, and I think I spent all the entire Christmas break. I took extra time off for Christmas, and I did this is it like it's like a 24-25 page short comic. It's a
Mhm.
silent comic called Beads. Part of it is still on my website, I think, and I was like, I want to show that I can it's storytelling. I can tell a story, and it was just a black and white silent comic. And I threw that at Marvel and of my old like Deadpool work and like other samples, and I got work. So um, that's when. So I was sort of at the point where, well, it's Marvel. It's not what I want to do because what I want to do is my own comics.
Right.
I want to own my own IP, but I thought this is the first step to doing that. If I work for Marvel, I'll build an audience and I can make connections, and then I can use that experience to move towards creating my own thing in a few years. Um, yeah, and the first thing that they put me on was Gwenpool. And I think people know that story if you watch my channel. I've talked about this many times. I was essentially a fill-in artist on Gwenpool, and after that, a bunch of other series. I was a fill-in on Silk, and also Marvel Superhero Adventures, and it was really weird because, you know, I didn't really mind that. Obviously, the types of books they were putting me on, I actually like working on Silk. That was my favorite project when I was at Marvel.
Mhm.
But like a lot of the things they were putting on were obviously for a younger audience. It felt really shojo. It wasn't my style, but I figured, well, this is paying my dues. They need a fill-in artist, and if I hit my deadlines, if I do decent work, then they'll I'll be able to eventually ask for something more. They'll offer me more jobs. But that really wasn't the case after doing that for about 3 years, I worked exclusively for Marvel for 3 years. Like I quit my gaming job, took a huge pay cut. I was barely making any money, and I actually had to move back to Taiwan because I couldn't pay the rent living in Texas anymore. I was in Texas at the time. So I
Right.
moved back to Taiwan, was living with my parents, and just freelancing and working for Marvel. And after like doing this for almost 3 years, I kind of got this feeling like this just wasn't it,
Hmm.
because I wasn't getting I didn't feel like I was advancing in any way, and it was going in the opposite direction. They were putting me on books for an even younger audience, and I was taking a pay cut for shorter deadlines. And I just realized, it doesn't seem like they really give a shit about what's good for their artists at all. And I'm never going to be able to do what I really want relying on Marvel. So that's when I started working on Fiendish. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to put this out. I don't know who I'm going to publish it with, but the most important thing right now is to just get some pages done and have something to show. So that's
Yeah,
what
it's funny
happened.
how you think when you get into comics that if you do the fill-in route and all this other kind of stuff, that eventually you graduate up. And generally, what happens is they pigeonhole you as a fill-in person, or they pigeonhole you as, like you said, a young adult artist, right? So that's all they put you on, and it totally works against how you think it should, right? And so, I mean, I had the same problems in a lot of different ways, and of course, I was, married, had kids, so all you're thinking about at that point is, I just got to go where the paycheck is because I got bills to pay, and you're letting kind of all your dreams slide away. You're just like, I just got to make money, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but hey, eventually I got out of it too. Uh,
Yes.
Now look at this. So Lazy sends $50 super chat. Thank you so much, So Lazy. That's incredible, but no message. Well, thank you for the red dot. That's very nice, and thank you for 50. That's very, very generous of you, and appreciate it very much. L.E. Munoz says, I totally feel Rini on this. I think he was talking about your. Oh, wait a minute. What have you got there?
Oh, you told me to bring snacks, so I
I know.
brought a
Well, you got
snack.
to share with what is it?
It's a pineapple cake. It's a Taiwanese snack. So it was just Mid Autumn Festival about a week ago.
Are you going to
So
open that
which
baby
is
up?
yeah. Well, this is a moon cake.
There you go.
This
All right.
is
Explain
and
what
this
you've
is
got. I want to know what you're eating here. Okay, go ahead.
okay. This is a moon cake, which is something that you eat for Mid Autumn Festival, and I mean you can make it themselves. But nowadays you would just like buy it, like pre-made. And I'll cut it open in a bit, but it's a pastry that has different kinds of fillings. Sometimes it's like preserved egg. Sometimes it's red bean paste. Sometimes it's matcha, or they have like orange flavoring as well, but the exterior is like a really heavy, thick pastry that they pour into a mold. So that's mooncake, and
Mm.
this is a pineapple cake, which is really similar, but the filling is pineapple, and the exterior is more crumbly. It's not as thick, and I really, really like this. This is my favorite Taiwanese snack.
Pineapple
Pineapple cake.
cake. No
Yeah.
one in my family likes pineapple except me, so I would. Now, can you get those any place, or is that just like a total Taiwan import?
I think I get on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm probably at your local Asian market, but I got these on Amazon. So we're so multicultural. Oh, I can cut them open. So let me get a knife.
Yeah, get a knife. Don't cut yourself, though. I don't.
I'll try.
I don't want to get sued for you cutting yourself open because I told you to bring snacks.
I will.
Oh no. The anticipation is killing us.
I'm back.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to full screen you again so we can get a good look at this thing now.
Oh no. Well, I don't need to be full screen. It's fine. All right. Well, I'll cut it on my table so you can't see it, but give me a second.
Well, let me
I
ask you a
probably
question while you're
glimpsed at
cutting
myself.
that. Paul
Okay.
wants to know, he says, Rini is credited for a show called Marvel Quick Draw. Wonder if it can be found on YouTube. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so that was a thing that Marvel just emailed me out of the blue one day when I was working on Silk, and they were like, we're trying to do YouTube stuff, so we're having our artists record themselves drawing, and they're gonna commission me for a piece, They kind of specify what it was, and they're like, "Can you record yourself?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure." So they asked for 3 Spider people: Gwen, Miles Morales, and Peter Parker. And they're like, "Just do a composition, we'll approve it, and you record yourself." So that's what it is. It is on YouTube. It was a while ago though, but it's on YouTube.
We have many people agreeing with you on the pineapple cakes in the chat. They're all like, pineapple.
Yeah, it's really
Okay,
good.
that's the moon pie, though, right there, right?
Yeah.
Or the moon cake?
Moon pie.
Okay, so what's is that chocolate?
No, it's red bean.
Oh, red bean.
Red
Okay,
bean
red bean
paste.
paste, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yummy. All right, no, go ahead, shove it in your mouth. No one cares. We don't stand on ceremony around here. I'm always eating something. Yeah, look at all this.
Okay.
Pineapple is the best. Pineapple, love pineapple. Nordman for $4.99. Thank you, Nordman. I appreciate that. Let me try that again. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Is it late to update my secret perks for both of y'all's campaign? I did back both first day and was signed up prior. Well, okay. For me, first of all, if you didn't use the link for the secret perk and you want your Merv the Astro Chimp card, which I assume that's why you'd want to do it now, you can just let me know, like message me, and I will put your name on the Merv list because some of the links didn't work that I sent out. So I have a separate list going for people whose links didn't work. If you don't want to go and cancel your order and reorder, which can be a pain in the butt. And then it makes us cry because we look at our campaign and we go, oh, someone refunded their money. They don't love me. And so,
yeah,
especially Rini, she cries about it all the time. So don't, there you go. See, so I don't know what your secret perk situation is, Rini, but you can address it on your end now.
It's similar. I had an issue getting emails to everybody for the secret perk. I thought I sent an email to everybody, and I did. I did a huge email blast Saturday morning before the launch, but apparently a lot of the emails went to spam and people didn't know. So I didn't realize that until people were telling me during the launch. So I did another email blast using MailChimp, and then people got the links. But because some people already backed the book, same. If you already backed a tier and then you got the secret perk link, just email me or message me, and I will just let me know your backer number. I'll cross-check your email, and I'll make sure you get the secret trading card and the print that comes with the sign up.
We're all about secret perks, and we make sure that you get them. Mm-hmm. Eric the Guapo, apparently not a big fan of red bean paste. So
why? I love red bean paste. I'll cut the other one now. Here's the pineapple cake.
Okay, now that I want to. So there's pineapple on the inside, right?
Yeah, and the outside is like a little more crumbly and soft. I really love this one.
I'm eating brown. So.
Oh, okay.
Pineapple cake and red bean pie sound healthier. They may not be, but they do sound healthier. So I'll give you that.
Maybe a tiny little bit. Teeny tiny.
No, wait a minute. They mix red bean with raisins sometimes to sweeten it. Is that true?
Oh no, it might be true. I have no idea how they. Well, red bean is already really sweet. Yeah, so it's actually a common street food in Asia. They'll just take red beans and put it over shaved ice with some tapioca.
Wow. Okay, so I got to ask you. I find genetics kind of fascinating. So, your mother is Taiwanese, correct? Your dad's Polish, right?
Oh, that looks it's really good. And it's sweet, but it's not too sweet because I don't like overly sweet stuff. It's perfect.
All right. I'm going to order some of those off Amazon.
You should.
Okay, so your dad's Polish, correct?
He's like 5 different things because he's American. So.
Oh, well, I know. So was he in the military? I mean, how did this happen? How did your mom and dad connect, if I can get personal with you?
No, he wasn't in the military. He's just a giant nerd. And so the language thing, I love languages, and I'm pretty sure it comes from him. And so he actually studied Mandarin in college. Like, he learned French and Mandarin and a little bit of Japanese, and I think a little Cantonese as well. And that's always been his thing. So he was fluent in Mandarin by like 23, and he was looking for translation work in Asia, and that's how he ended up in Taiwan. So
Nice.
he's lived in Taiwan longer than America at this point. So he moved there, was doing like radio and translation, and then eventually met my mom, and he ended up doing like technical writing, just because Taiwan's really big on the computer industry. So after I was born, when I was growing up, he was just doing like manuals for computers all the time. Yeah.
Well, okay, so you were born and raised in Taiwan, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
How do you have like no accent? You're just like got this total Americanized
I don't know.
Did you
Well,
go to like, do they have like American schools in Taiwan, or did you go to regular Taiwanese schools?
yeah, I went to American school. So it wasn't, it was sort of like, there were actually several American schools in Taiwan, and especially since in the area where my parents live, it's sort of the Silicon Valley area of Taiwan, because my dad was working there. There's a lot of expats, so yeah, there was an American school there. It was kind of a charter school. So I've been speaking English since I was like 4 or 5. Just like not most of the time at first, but I would sort of speak Chinese at home, speak English at school.
I got you. Randy Hall says Rini comes from a proud nerd lineage. That's good. Excellent. John Davis, hello, Aaron and Irene. Have a blast tonight. Wishing you well on your campaigns. He's probably heading to bed or something. But thank you, John.
Okay.
Appreciate you dropping in. L.E. Munoz is eating banana bread. That's always that's a favorite around this household when we have, if I can get either Shelley or my mom, my 91-year-old mother. Is it bad that I make banana bread? But I do.
No,
Evil One says, I'm eating sausages. I guarantee all those sweets are healthier. For a second, I read sweats, and I thought maybe he was having the meat sweats from his sausage, but
oh, no.
not. What was this? Stephen De La Vega, spread the word to get back over 1K. That's foreign language to me. I don't know what you're trying to say. Okay, now wait a minute. Eric the Guapo must be joking. That's not a thing, is it? Pineapple cake dipped in some ketchup?
That sounds gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
No, thank you. That sounds gross.
Christina Lynn is heading out. Good night, Christina. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good night.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting sounding.
Yeah, that's gross. That's like dipping your, I don't know, Hershey bar in ketchup or something.
I know. Brian Suddenly Old, he's from my neck of the woods, says also the Vietnamese restaurant behind the Fred Meyer, which is a department store here locally, next to Highway 26, has a bunch of different mooncakes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think it's an all over Asia thing.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Dun Ringil says the pineapple cake sounds good. So everybody's on board with your pineapple cakes. So I think that's good. I'm going to try one. I'm going to order one on Amazon. Or maybe just drive up to the Fred Meyer store and go to the Vietnamese restaurant right behind there and see if I can get one freshly made. Now, I have this little bit that I do on this show called Precious Moments. And I'll show clips from yesteryear. And this was mildly inspired by your appearance on the show today. So let's take a look at our Precious Moments for this week. Are you a Bruce Lee fan at all?
I haven't seen like all his movies, but I like him. I don't understand.
I was thinking, what can I drop that's even remotely Asian culture? What can I? Oh, Bruce Lee.
Oh, that's great. Chad's saying emotional damage.
Yeah. That was, of course, from Game of Death, where he fought former NBA player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a karate death match there. He had to go, entered this temple or this house, and every floor he had to fight a different villain to get to the top or something. So, and unfortunately, Bruce passed away before the movie was finished, but they finished it anyway with with a stand-in and some like I think there was a scene where he was actually looking in the mirror, and they took the stand-in and then they like pasted like like a photo of Bruce Lee's face over the guy's face or something.
Oh
It was
God.
really not good. But early 70s, what are you going to do? Special effects weren't quite there. So um,
Yeah, that's sad.
let's see. Oh, Dan Lawless is here. He says, I used to think that scene was realistic. Yeah, people make those kind of noises when they hit each other and kick each other, don't they? I think so. I don't think I've been, yeah, I don't think I've been in a fight since third grade, so I can't remember if those sounds were like that or not.
I'm sure it's accurate.
Aaron revealing that he's a secret weeb. I don't know what that means. What's a weeb? Does he mean dweeb? What's a
No,
weeb?
Weeb is an anime and manga fan.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah,
especially a Western person who likes that stuff.
So speaking of anime, so you grew up basically, that was what you were seeing in Taiwan, right? Was anime.
Yeah. Yep, that's almost everything that I got, but I did have some American media. Obviously, this is before the superhero movies, so I got no American comics. I was surprised when I found out that Spider-Man was still an ongoing comic because I just got none of that. It was really, yeah, I was like, oh, they still draw this? I thought this was a thing from the 50s. But so comics wise, it was, well, not exclusively, manga. I actually, so my school would order some American books for the kids there. So I would read Calvin and Hobbes. I actually read Carmen Sandiego, which is in the back of like Time magazine had a kids edition. So Time for Kids, they had Carmen Sandiego comics and stuff like Snoopy and all that stuff. Peanuts, I mean, but yeah, most of the American comics I read were comic strips, and other than that, it was manga because manga is everywhere in Asia, and we get books translated like a couple days after the Japanese releases. Shonen Jump's Taiwan releases like right after the Japanese one. So 7-Elevens are stocked with Shonen Jump and popular comics, the tankobons, which is essentially the manga version of a trade paperback. You can get it at like every corner store, every 7-Eleven. And 7-Elevens are everywhere in Taiwan. And so I first started reading comics, I think, just waiting in like doctors' offices and dentists. They would always have manga lying around for the kids. So that's how I got into it. And then when I started being able to walk to school on my own, there were like 4 manga stores on my way to school. So I would just like stop there on my way back and waste a lot of time. And then my mom would be like, where were you? And I'm like, living my life. So, yeah. So that's, I grew up with mostly manga. But what's interesting is I did get some American TV shows, and I actually didn't know which show was made where because it was like they were all dubbed in Chinese. So I would get anime shows like what was it even called? I think, what was I watching at the time? One called Doremi, of course, Conan, Detective Conan, Naruto. I was in like middle school when Naruto was first coming out and getting big, and all those shows. But then my favorite shows are actually tended to be American because the American animated shows tend to be darker. I really like Mummies Alive and Gargoyles. And I know we got Sabrina as well, and a few other. And, oh, we got Recess too. But I didn't differentiate between what was made where. It was all cartoons to me.
Have you seen that? I gotta remember the name of it. Something my daughter watched. The Fabulous Ladybug, or the what was it? She was a superhero, but it was like it was made in, I want to say, one of the Asian markets, but it was done in French, and then it ended up getting translated to English for the American. But it was computer generated, and somebody help me out. It was called the Incredible Ladybug or the Fabulous Ladybug. She was basically this high school superhero that had these like, she didn't turn into a ladybug, but she had like, that was her superhero name, was Ladybug. And then there was like Cat Noir, which was this blonde-haired kid she had a crush on. And like my daughter and all of her friends in high school were watching this all the time. And it was kind of anime, but it was Americanized, I guess you'd call it. but I found it really interesting because it was created in an Asian market, and I don't know exactly which country it came out of, if it was Korea or China or wherever, and or Japan, or but it was made for the French audience. So it was original. So they were the whole thing. They were in high school in Paris, right? So you have the Eiffel Tower, and not the yeah, the Eiffel Tower and different landmarks there. But then it was translated to the English audience for the American episodes when they came out. So, but you're looking like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't. Sorry, I have no idea.
Well, I'm sure glad I brought that up. Okay, well,
It's fine.
did you ever watch? Did you ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Yeah,
okay, there
I
we go.
think.
Now we're connecting. Did you
Well,
like that or not?
I did. I like
I love
not.
that show. I thought it was one of the best adventure cartoons. I loved it.
It's really good. I mean, it was this fascinating sort of event where everyone, people who know manga and anime know that it was influenced, especially Tezuka was influenced by early Disney, and then it was sort of like this influence coming back across the Pacific into these American creators that they were making an anime that had it was very anime, but it also had a lot of American sensibilities. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, not so much Korra, but Avatar. It was so good.
Yeah, my daughter wasn't as thrilled with Korra either, although she watched it. But I just yeah, I'm not a manga guy, and probably or manga, excuse me, because I just didn't. There was no exposure to it, right? Growing up, it was American comics, and the first exposure I ever had to manga was, I guess, Lone Wolf and Cub, which came
Hmm.
out first came out in the American audience in late '80s when I was living in LA, and that was the first time I ever saw anything like that and started understanding it. But so, how old were you when you moved to the U.S. again?
I was 17.
Okay, so it wasn't like when you were a little kid or anything. So
Mm-mm.
so I'm assuming by that point that there was plenty of manga in the American marketplace to satisfy someone that was a manga fan at that point. Would you say or no?
No, no. There was
Really?
a tiny little bit, but when I first moved here, and I've kind of seen manga blow up in the American market. Like when I think, that was everyone's gonna know how old I am now. It was like 2008, 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like in Barnes and Nobles, there was like one little shelf of manga, and it wouldn't be anything I recognized, and it would always be really old stuff that
Mm-hmm.
came out like a year ago in Asia, and it's been amazing watching how much manga has blown up. When I first moved here, it was still kind of niche, and now it's most of the comics you can find in every store,
Well,
which
so
really says
is this,
something.
and again, I'm totally naive, or not naive, but ignorant of the manga market. So are we getting manga material straight from the Asian markets to the US now, or are Americans creating manga? Or do we have Asian people in the United States creating manga for the American audience? How is that stuff getting into the US, and how much of a delay is there from when it's being created to when it hits the US market?
No, the manga market is still almost entirely Japanese creators because they're
Okay.
very like it's Japan. They're not very accepting of foreigners, and they will be if you become very Japanese. So there are some manga creators that are like Korean or Taiwanese. Actually, a lot of Taiwanese people learn Japanese and go to Japan to work. So some like a small amount of manga creators are foreign, but it's almost entirely Japanese books that are translated into the for the American market or for the rest of the world. And there are like companies that do localization. I know Viz is a big one in America, kind of just depending on what type, like what audience demographic that they're going for. So I think Viz does some of the more adult stuff, and then I'm not super familiar with all the translators. But yeah, I think the delay now is pretty short. I would say less than a month. You would get an English version of a tankobon.
So do you think that the fascination with manga in the US market now is just because of the diversity of subject matter, more bang for the buck in terms of how much story you're getting for what you're paying? What do you think the appeal is?
Um, hmm. I mean, I think it's kind of like manga is just more entertaining, really. and it's so many factors that go into it. I think diversity genre is one thing,
Mhm.
but part of it is also their model is so based on pure meritocracy and competition. Like if your book doesn't sell, they don't coddle you. You just get your
You get the
series
boot.
cut. Yeah. So then, and that's why I'm really happy that they're so insular. Though some people are like, well, you should let more foreigners create manga. Like, no, no, no. It needs to be by Japanese people because they give no f's about making you feel better. And if your work doesn't sell, then you don't get a series. And they know what sells. So the editors there, they have a lot of say in most series, and they'll help creators figure out, well, this is how you improve your idea. We know this is what sells for people. And I think just a competitive industry that's audience based, because the
Mhm.
way manga works is uh it's probably not like by paper. I think when I was growing up, it you would get a survey at the end of like every Shonen Jump, and the audience could send out a survey rating the series that was in that week's issue of Shonen Jump, and the chapters are weekly. So you would rate your series, and if a creator's series is constantly rated the lowest, it gets cut from Shonen Jump and all the other magazines. So that's how it works. So it's entirely audience feedback, and that's a big part of it. And I think just the sort of model where there's a lot of fresh ideas. These are entirely new creators. It's more exciting, new characters, new stories, and every series has a beginning, middle, and end point. And you know that this is like one digestible story. I think that's more accessible for people instead of jumping
Right.
into a character that has like 50 years of history. And I didn't understand this when I was first came into contact with American comics. I was really weirded out. I was like, where do I start reading? And I think it's part of why I never got into superheroes. And I understand that there are sections in this like 50-year history of, say, a character where this one writer did this take that's really good, but how do you know that's where to start? It's just so
It's
much easier to jump into like a character and a franchise when you know this is where you start and it's going to end at some point. I think that's part of it.
Did you find when you first started uh, trying to do comics here after you moved here, um, that you were pushing when you're pushing a manga type style? Was there any resistance? Did you feel that there was any resistance? Did you feel like you were kind of coming into a marketplace that didn't really have a lot of this, and it might be a tough sell as opposed to what it is now, where it's just widely popular and very accepted? Was there? I mean, you're not that old, I realize, but when you first started, can you see a difference, I guess, between the excessive? Yeah. You're not old like me, sister.
I'm old.
Did you, can you see a difference from when you first started to what you're seeing now in terms of the acceptance, or maybe not just the acceptance, but people actually seeking out manga as a form of comic storytelling and as an art form, and different than U.S. comics?
I think when I first moved here, there was still a lot of, especially in art school, like you would always know, okay, these are the anti-manga professors, and I didn't get a
That'd be
lot of
me.
yeah, and I didn't get like a lot of pushback. Like I wasn't failed just because I drew in a manga style, but the I think the sort of impression I got was teachers would just be like, well, you're never going to make sales. You're trying to work for the American industry, so you need to change your style.
Mm,
And they would say your work is good, and I'm not failing you because your work is still good, but most people who draw, they kind of think that most people who draw manga have like a sort of a bad manga style, and I think everyone kind of knows what that looks like. It's sort of very because it's so iconized, like it's so graphic and simplified, and
right,
it's used as a crutch for a lot of beginners to not learn anatomy and not learn composition. So
right,
a lot of professors had a really bad impression of everybody who drew with a manga style. And so I don't know what it's like in art school now. It's probably less, because especially because you have so many people coming out with like who draw manga or who draw kind of like that Cal art style. So I can't imagine there's. I think things have changed. They're probably like, oh, we can't tell them they'll have changed their style or hurt their feelings nowadays. So, which I have a funny story. because I was actually invited back to my alma mater once to give portfolio reviews, and it was like I noticed a huge difference in just the students' ability to take critique. Because when I was in college, the me and the kids in my class we were like hankering for hard critiques. So every time we went to Heroes Con, we would like everybody would line up and go to find Brian Stelfreeze because he was the one that would rip you apart, and we loved it. And like, and he would just like sit down and tell you how you sucked, and we're like, yes, beat us more. But, but like, it's really not that way anymore. It just because when you're giving critique, you kind of like learn to look for cues and when to pull back. And it just seemed like there was people were, there was a marked difference, and it was a lot of people weren't open to. People were a little more sensitive, so that makes me really worried. Cause yeah, I forgot.
That's the thing I'm always afraid of when people bring me their portfolios, because when you see portfolios at a convention or whatever, one in 20 maybe is good, right? Mm-hmm. And so you know that the chances are you got a 95% chance or whatever it is that the person showing you their portfolio is not going to be very good. So how do you give them constructive criticism without hurting their feelings? And it's such a challenging thing. And I know there's guys that just don't care. Like you said, Stelfreeze will tell it like it is. Gary Martin, inker, he's very, very matter of fact. And I always was worried about, hurting people's feelings. So I always felt myself doing a lot of dancing around the issues instead of actually letting people have it. And because I figured, well, I don't want to be the one to ruin this guy's day. I'll let someone else do it. But yeah, you're right. It's very difficult to find people that are really looking. And everybody says they're looking for constructive criticism, but as soon as you hand it out, they don't take it very well. So it's hard to know who really wants it and who really doesn't.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of try to start out with saying the good things first, and then you say a little bad thing and see how they react, and then you say another good thing. Right. Because, it's not just that I don't like being mean to people, which I don't, but like I think that it doesn't help somebody if they're a beginner. And you also there's another question that I've learned to ask is, well, I want to know how long they've been drawing. Are you in art school? Are you looking to get work right now? You want to know at what point of progression, how serious they are with their art. So that really helps. And so if someone is just a beginner, they've been drawing for a year, and you go all in, well, that's not helping them. You're just going to make them feel like they don't want to do this anymore. Right.
I used to teach a class, and I was pretty brutal when I first started it. And because I always felt like if you can't take criticism, and because that's all you're going to get in the industry as you work your way through trying to get a job, is you're going to get a lot of criticism. If you can't take it, then you shouldn't be doing this. But I mellowed as I got older and actually had kids. And I thought I can actually start being nice to people. But I'm still working on that. So were you familiar with Adam Warren's work at all, like Dirty Pair or anything like that?
Wait, what?
Adam Warren. Are you familiar with his work? He did Dirty Pair. He's like an American manga artist. And I'm surprised, Rini. I'm surprised at you. He did it through Dark Horse. It was really popular in the 90s, but he had a very full-blown manga style, and it was really, really good, really good. But he was the only person that I ever met that was doing that and trying to push it into the regular marketplace. So you should look him up, Adam Warren, and check it out and see what you think. And next time I see you, I'll ask you what your opinion is of it, because I thought maybe I can find a piece here. Hang on a second.
I can Google him really quick.
Like sing a song and entertain the folks while I'm looking for. I'm kidding.
Ooh, apparently Adam Warren is also a baseball player. That's the first thing that shows up on Google.
All right, hang
That's not what I'm looking for.
All right, here we go. I assume this is him.
Am I spelling it wrong?
I don't know. How would you Adam Warren? You can only spell it like a couple ways, right? Here, let me. Okay, I've got something. if I can get myself organized here. There's just too many buttons to push on StreamYard. You notice that? It's like,
Oh,
why
I
can't
see. On
see,
Twitter.
there's a
Is it?
saucy picture of his dirty pair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Adam. Yeah.
Okay.
And he did. Let me see what else.
Very anime eyes. Very.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, the stuff you're doing, I would say, is more. Well, again, I don't have enough experience with it but it seems more subtle than overblown. I mean, because wasn't this? I mean, the big eye type thing, wasn't that sort of standard fare for a while, or was that just a section or a type of manga?
It's a type, and it's mostly manga that's aimed at kids would have the big eyes style more.
Yeah, there you go. There's another piece he did. So
Okay.
yeah, he was doing this, and it was pretty popular through Dark Horse for a while. I don't know. I haven't run into him in a while. But this was kind of pretty much the only manga that I was seeing in the American market there in the 90s and early 2000s. So it really has what are they? Sequential Treasures says he called Adam Warren style Amera anime. How about that?
Yeah, I've heard Ameri anime or Ameri manga, which all these terms annoy me greatly, but well, can't stop people.
Why? Because it's not a purist. Is it like what do you look? You don't accept like this hybrid kind of thing, or what? What do you? Why does it
No,
annoy
I
you?
don't. I love it. I mean, I draw in a hybrid style, but it's just like the term. It's like saying Hotlanta. It just irks me. But it's like,
It just pisses me off. I don't need a reason why. It just does.
just say American manga or something.
Well, that is true. There's this kind of trying to pronounce like these hyphenated things, and just if we could just say the full words completely, everything would be much easier. All right, let's. I'm going to wrap this up here pretty quick, but let's take a look at your Fiendish campaign. I don't remember where we left off at, but
I don't know either.
you're still at 104,377. So you have 1,177 backers right now. So I think I got you 2 backers while you were on here. So that's something anyway, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
So do you have any okay, so you said you've got how many volumes or how many parts do you plan on this being at this point, like 10 or something?
Oh no, it's funny, once I started drawing it, I'm like, okay, let me just shorten everything because this is a lot of drawing and I will never be done.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it is a fairly long story. So I'm thinking probably 18 to 20 chapters, 18 to 20 books.
Now how many pages in general? I know it varies a little bit, but what size books are you trying to put out here?
They're 50 to 70 pages every book.
Okay. So at least
Same
50 and probably more most of the time.
Yeah. So like book 1 was 50 pages, book 2 is 72. I think that's a good size book for especially if I'm intending to crowdfund most of it. Who knows what crowdfunding will look like years from now, but
Right.
but just with like, even if it's not crowdfunded, the schedule, I'm aiming to get to 2 books a year. So if people are getting 2 books a year,
Really?
I'd like to give them 50 to 70 pages, and I just like that model more, like that good chunk of story. I could spend more time on it. I think that's pretty doable eventually.
Well, there is kind of that learning curve, right? I know you had some ups and downs with your shipping, and we had it wasn't too bad. We had a couple of glitches, but we had we shipped out. I think we had right at around 2,000 unique backers. So I was sent out 2,000 packages, which is a lot. You're gonna be doing that or more with this campaign, and that's kind of the thing that throws a wrench into it, right? We dealing with the printer first of all, and you had trouble with your printer as well, as I know, and I had some with mine that sort of that sort of lengthens out that sort of process of being able to start the next book. And so those are always kind of the variables that we can't control. Is how long is it going to take me to ship all this out? Am I going to have any issues with the printer? Is it going to come back, quickly, or am I going to have to wait 3 months or whatever? So it's kind of hard at this stage to plan, because I'd like to do that too. Get out 2 projects a year would be my ultimate goal. But I guess we'll just, like you said, we kind of go forward and learn our way through this to figure out how we can be more efficient and effective getting the books out. Because I do think that if you're doing a continuing saga like you are, or you're doing a few more characters, a few more properties like I am, you don't want to be taking a year to year and a half before one thing comes out. It needs to be out more regularly, I think, to keep your audience interested. And so I guess that's kind of our job going forward, is to figure out how to streamline a little bit more, to be a little bit more efficient. And hopefully we all learned stuff on our first campaigns that we can put into effect in our second ones. That'll make it a little bit easier for us to get this stuff done on a regular basis and out on a regular basis.
Definitely. Yeah, it's not just the fulfillment issues, but sort of the first couple of chapters I think were the hardest for me to figure out what direction the story's going, because I'm planning for the whole series as I work, and now some things just don't solidify until you draw it on the paper. So a lot of my time has also been the chapter 1 got delayed so much because of printing and shipping, but I on the back end, despite the pain, there were some benefits, which one of them was I got to work on the story for a longer time, and I got to refine chapter 2 and also a bit of chapter 3. So I think making the product better, there's some growing pains at the beginning that are necessary, but now that I've learned, sort of streamlined my own work process, I have someone else doing the fulfillment for me. I have more of a streamlined relationship with my colorist and everything. I think it's possible, not 6 months right off the bat, but I see it as eventually being realistic.
Yeah, I do too. I just think it's, like you said, figuring out, if I spent an entire month or more, and you did, I'm sure, as well with fulfillment last time, doing everything yourself. And you're like, I didn't draw at all. I did 7 days a week. I was packaging books for an entire month. And it's like, if someone else was doing this for me, I could be drawing right now and getting ahead on the next project. Right. So do you have a company that's going to fulfill for you that does fulfillment, or are you just going to hire some friends or people to come in and do it for you on this one?
Hiring some friends was my plan the first time, then nobody came. So I have really great friends.
Beer didn't bring them in, huh? Free pizza if you come over. That was happened with me too, and it didn't.
I was like, I'm paying you. There's also free food on top of paying you. Then nobody showed up, and it was during the summer, so apparently everybody decided to take their families on a vacation for a whole month, and I'm like, that's really great. It's not like I've been talking to you about this for a year or anything. So yeah, I'm hiring a company. Actually, RJ from Critical Blast, they're Comicsgate friendly, obviously, so that's good. And I've heard good things. They fulfilled some other campaigns, so I'm hoping this works out.
Well, I may be, if you finish yours before I finish mine, I may be asking you how it went, because
I don't know. How many pages is Blood Hunters?
Well, I could be up close to 100.
Ooh!
So I have some, it depends on the stretch goals, but I have some backup stories in mind, which I'm looking at the campaign right now that I'll share with everybody that may just be late. But I've got 3 cover options here: the wraparound cover, the Tales of Suspense throwback cover with Garbage Man and the Nightclub, and then the Tomb of Dracula tribute cover is there as well. I have 2 backup stories. So I have it's going to be about a 40-page lead story with Wraith of God. That's the Blood Hunters story. Then I have a 18-page Garbage Man backup story colored by our own Dan Lawless. There's a couple pages from that, a little zombie action there. And then I also have the Nightclub is another story that will be 18 to 20 pages. So that right there puts me at 80 or 78 or 80.
Oh my god.
just story pages. And then if we hit 100,000, I'm going to add Kit Carter Galactic Ranger pages, which I showed earlier before you came on. I have to do 8 extra pages for that. I already have some of that already done. But so that's going to be another 15 pages. So that could get me up to like 95, 94, 95 pages. And then you start putting in your title page and your little commentary pages and things like that. And you end up with a 100-page book. So that's very likely that's what I'm going to be looking at. So
Holy cow.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I got a big book.
That's a lot. I think so the main story for chapter 2 is 72 pages, but I have a lot of like world building material. The book will be about at least 80 pages, but it's
Right.
just a lot of extra content in the back. But I have a mind to add probably, so people watch my channel know I have a chapter 2.5 planned, and I'm really, really excited about this. It's sort of like a side story that's part of Casimir's backstory. And if we reach a really high stretch goal, I might throw that in, and that'll be something that's not fully colored, but it'll just be like an ash can. But you might be getting more story content if we hit a really high stretch goal. So I'm gonna have the work cut out for me.
Well, you and me both. And but see, I was thinking, and I always felt like that. Number one, I wanted to make sure people felt like for $25 they were getting their money's worth. Number one, and then number two, it's like when you're only producing a book a year or a book every 10 months or whatever it is at this stage, you always feel like, gosh, I want to get more stuff out there. So what do you end up doing? You end up adding it to your book, and so it becomes a bigger book, and it just takes you longer to get it out anyway. So I don't know if it's really solving the problem, but that's kind of what happened with me. I was like, I want to get this story in there, and I want to get this story in there because I want people to, know about these characters because they tie into this. And
yeah, that's why like the chapter 2.5, I'm like, I wish I could just, not have to do anything else and draw comics all day. That would really help. But also I just want to get this story out so much. And, I'm also thinking about, I really want people to read chapter 2.5 before the third campaign. So I don't really want to do a whole other campaign just for 2.5. And I'm like, it's hard to resist just my urge to want to give people more stuff for free at this point.
Right. I'm the same way. It's like, you want to give the customers like so much stuff that they're like, they can't not, stay with you the whole way. Right.
Yeah.
And, wait a minute. Rini is drinking from the skull of her ex. Now, is that true?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Now, where does one find a medieval-looking skull cup like that? Amazon?
Yeah.
Really?
I use Amazon way too much. I'm not a fan of Bezos, but it's my one guilty pleasure. I love buying stuff on there.
Well, one-stop shopping is pretty appealing, regardless if the guy running it is a jerk or not. So
yeah, I can't help it.
Oh, we have one more question for you here. Rini, are you getting entries for the art contest yet?
Yeah, I got a couple by email though, so I need to ask them if they want me to tweet it out, which I'm surprised. But yeah, the $100,000 stretch goal for Phoenix was obviously an art contest. So if anyone's watching, you don't know about it, go to the updates for the campaign. I have all the details there, and it's due on Halloween. So if the winner will get $400 and you're printed in the book, and I have 2 runner-ups at this point. You get $50 and maybe more. We'll see.
Sweet. So how are you going to reveal the winner? Are you going to do it on your channel? Or are you going to do it on social media?
I think I'll do it on just like simultaneously. I'll do it on my channel and Twitter, and then also campaign update. I'll post like I'll retweet all of the pieces on Twitter, and then when after it's determined who wins, I'll just blast out who it is everywhere. I'll share your art. It'll be fun.
Does the winner get the picture in your book, or they get money, or what do they get for winning?
They get both. You get right now it's $400, but it might. I have a higher. Yeah, I have a. Well, I saw like Shane did like 500. So, and it's like I don't really have as big of an audience as him, but I think 400 is like that's for $100,000 stretch goal. I think that's worth it because the whole point is I want to give back to the audience.
Right.
So So I might raise it. If we reach a higher stretch goal, I will raise it. There's a
Mm.
stretch goal a little bit from now. I think for like 140 to raise it by another $100.
And you said the deadline is Halloween or October 1st. What did you say?
Halloween.
Okay, so we have all the way through October yet. So
Lots of time.
Mustache Man Gray says, "Congrats to Rini. Long live CG." Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up. This is a great conversation. I'm so glad you joined me, Rini. Get to know you a little bit, other than just us competing all the time. It's no, we can be friendly opponents, right? But
Yeah. No,
well,
thank you for having me on.
well, thank you for coming, and thanks for sharing your story. It was very interesting. I like to. Everybody's got a different journey to get here, and it's really interesting. So, thank you very much. Oh, I did have one question. I saw some video with you with pink hair. What was that all about?
I dyed it red, but I guess it faded, so everybody thinks I had pink hair now.
That wasn't a wig. That was you just went the whole. You went pink.
Yeah. Dang it, I'm so mad it looks pink because I actually hate pink, but I dyed my hair red for a while.
So it was supposed to be red, and then sort of because it looks on the video thing I saw, it looks pink. Like,
I know it wasn't. I swear it was red. I stopped doing that because imagine having to bleach this hair to be red.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
I can imagine. So do you have to do that? You have to bleach it blonde and then color it red? Is that because you can't do it when it's that dark, right?
Yeah, you have to bleach it first, and it kind of ruins your hair, so I stopped doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. All right. Well, the black hair, it's a good look for you. It works. So you got it working for you. So stick with what works.
I will.
My daughter was always, "What would you do if I did, colored my hair purple?" I'd go, "Hey, you can't come home." So that's just grumpy. So I'm not one to ask about hair colors. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We couldn't do the show if you weren't there watching. We had a fantastically huge audience, which I'm sure has all to do with Rini being the guest. And so I thank you for joining us. I want you guys to make sure that you follow the links in the description, both to Rini's campaign, Fiendish 2, Electric Boogaloo, and then also my Wraith of God, Blood Hunters. And you guys have a great week coming up. And I'm sure you have a YouTube channel, obviously. And so keep your eyes open for Rini's programming as well as mine. I show up randomly all over the place. We're also on Comicsgate Kings Monday nights. And Professionals for me on Tuesdays. So a lot of stuff going on. Keep us in your crosshairs, and we will see you guys soon. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night.